The screen door slammed behind her like a gunshot in the still afternoon air, and Hannah froze on the porch steps, her coffee mug slipping from numb fingers to shatter against the concrete below. Shards of ceramic scattered like broken promises across the sun-baked walkway, mirroring the fragments of her life that had piled up over the past year. Ever since Mark walked out with nothing but a duffel bag and a curt, "I can't do this anymore." But it wasn't the mug that made her heart seize. It was the woman striding up the driveway, mower in tow, her silhouette cutting through the haze of heat rising off the asphalt like a mirage from some forgotten dream. "Hey there," the woman called out, her voice carrying that easy California lilt, warm as the Santa Ana winds that swept through the San Fernando Valley this time of year. She set the mower down with a thud, wiping her brow with the back of a calloused hand. "Name's Lily. You must be Hannah?" Dispatch said this place needed a trim bad. "Looks like it's been a jungle out here since the last guy bailed." Hannah blinked, forcing herself to unclench her jaw. She wasn't expecting anyone today. The lawn service app had glitched again, or maybe she'd forgotten to cancel after that disastrous attempt at DIY landscaping last spring. The grass had grown wild, tangled with wild mustard and overgrown bougainvillea that clawed at the siding like desperate fingers. It was a metaphor she didn't need spelled out, her life unchecked and unruly, spilling over the edges of the white picket fence she'd once believed in. At 38, with laugh lines etching deeper around her eyes and a body softened by too many solitary nights with Netflix and Merlot, Hannah had let the yard and herself go to seed. "Yeah, that's me," she managed, stepping down carefully to avoid the porcelain wreckage. Her voice came out steadier than she felt, laced with that Midwestern politeness she'd never quite shaken, even after 2 decades in LA's sprawl. "Sorry about the mess. Well, life's been a bit of a whirlwind. Come on in for some water first? It's brutal out here." Lily hesitated, her green eyes sharp and assessing, like she could see right through the polite facade, flicking from the broken mug to Hannah's face. She was younger, maybe 32, with the kind of sun-weathered skin that spoke of weekends surfing at Malibu or hiking the Hollywood Hills. Her auburn hair was cropped short, tousled by the wind, and a faint scar traced her left eyebrow, giving her an air of quiet defiance. Faded Levi's hugged her hips, paired with a tank top that revealed toned arms marked by a small tattoo of a compass rose on her forearm. Pointing north, always north, Hannah thought absurdly. There was something unapologetically alive about her, a spark that made the air hum. "Nah, I'm good," Lily said with a grin that crinkled the corners of her eyes. "But thanks. Let's just get this beast started before the neighbors file a complaint." Mrs. Hargrove next door already side-eyed me on the way in. "Thinks I'm here to rob the place or something." Hannah chuckled despite herself, the sound rusty from disuse. As Lily fired up the mower, the roar filled the space between them, drowning out the distant hum of traffic on the 101. She watched from the porch swing, the chains creaking under her weight, as Lily attacked the lawn with efficient grace. Blades of grass flew in green arcs, the scent of fresh cuts mingling with the earthy tang of turned soil. It was mesmerizing, almost therapeutic. The way Lily moved, purposeful yet fluid, like she'd been born with a tool in her hand. Hannah's mind wandered to her own hands, soft and manicured from years behind a desk at the ad agency, now idle and aching for something real. By the time Lily finished, the sun hung low, painting the sky in strokes of orange and pink. She coiled the extension cord with practiced ease and loaded the mower into the bed of her beat-up Ford Ranger, the truck's paint chipped from too many miles on dusty backroads. "All done," she announced, dusting off her hands. "Looks like a putting green now. That'll be $75, plus tip if you're feeling generous." Hannah pulled out her wallet, fumbling for cash. "It's perfect. Really. I didn't realize how bad it was until. Well now." She handed over the bills, their fingers brushing for the briefest moment. A spark, electric and unbidden, that made her pull back too quickly. "Hey, if you're not in a rush, there's lemonade inside. Fresh squeezed. My mama's recipe." Lily's grin returned, softer this time. "Twist my arm. Lead the way." The kitchen was a time capsule of domestic dreams deferred. Granite counters cluttered with takeout containers, a half-dead ficus in the corner, and family photos on the fridge. Hannah and Mark at their wedding in Vegas grinning like fools. A toddler version of her niece beaming from a pumpkin patch. Lily slid onto a bar stool, her presence filling the room like sunlight through a cracked blind. As Hannah poured the lemonade, tart and sweet with a sprig of mint, stories spilled out unbidden. Lily talked about growing up in a trailer park in Bakersfield, trading dreams of college for a landscaping gig after her folks split. Dad took off for Reno, Mom buried herself in bingo nights. Me? I figured out you can make a living turning chaos into order. Lawns, gardens, they don't judge. Hannah leaned against the counter, sipping her own glass, the coolness grounding her. Sounds poetic. My chaos is more internal. Divorced a year ago. House feels like a museum of what was. She gestured vaguely at the photos, her voice catching. Why was she telling this stranger? But Lily listened, really listened, her head tilted. No pity in her eyes, just understanding, raw and real. Divorce is like mowing over a weed patch, Lily said after a beat. You gotta go deep, roots and all, or it just grows back meaner. But hey, new growth comes after. Fresh starts. They talked until the light faded, the conversation meandering from bad exes to hidden gems in the valley. Taco trucks on Sepulveda, secret hiking trails off Mulholland. When Lily finally stood to go, the air between them thickened with something unspoken. A current pulling at the edges of Hannah's carefully guarded heart. Same time next week? Lily asked at the door, her hand lingering on the knob. Hannah nodded, her pulse quickening. Yeah, I'd like that. As the truck rumbled away, taillights fading into the twilight, Hannah touched the spot where their fingers had met. For the first time in months, the house didn't feel so empty. Felt like possibility. The weeks blurred into a rhythm as steady as Lily's mower. Every Thursday, she'd pull up at 3 p.m. sharp, her truck announcing its arrival with a gravelly cough. Hannah took to waiting on the porch, a book in her lap she rarely read, her eyes drawn instead to the figure unfolding from the cab, strong, unpretentious, with that effortless charisma that made Hannah's stomach twist in ways she hadn't felt since college crushes on unavailable straight girls. It started innocently enough. Lemonade evolving into iced tea with bourbon on the rocks, shared under the pergola Hannah had built with Mark in a burst of weekend optimism. Lily would regale her with tales of eccentric clients. A tech bro who wanted his yard sculpted like a Bitcoin chart. Or the widow down the street who planted roses for every lost love. Life's too short for straight lines, Lily said one afternoon, her boots propped on the glider's armrest, a bead of sweat tracing the curve of her neck. Gotta let it curve, you know? Like those old coastal roads up to Big Sur. Hannah found herself opening up in return, words tumbling like weeds she'd long suppressed. The agency job that drained her soul, sketching campaigns for products she didn't believe in. The ache of holidays alone, her sister's pitying calls from Chicago. The quiet terror of turning 40 single in a city that worshipped youth. I thought marriage would fix me, she confessed one evening, the sun dipping low enough to gild Lily's skin. But it just exposed the cracks. Lily reached across the space between them, her hand covering Hannah's. Not a hug, not quite, but a bridge. Cracks let the light in, hon. You're not broken. You're just remapping. The nickname stuck, soft and intimate, like a secret shared in the half-light. Hannah lay awake that night, the ceiling fan whirring above her bed, replaying the warmth of that touch. It wasn't just friendship blooming here. It was something deeper, forbidden in its tenderness. She'd dated men her whole life, chalked up fleeting curiosities to youthful experimentation. But Lily? She stirred a longing Hannah had buried under layers of convention. A pull toward softness, toward someone who saw her not as a role to fill, but as a story to unfold. By the 6th visit, the air crackled with it. Lily arrived with a flat of petunias, vibrant purple blooms that matched the bruises under Hannah's eyes from another sleepless week. Thought your window boxes needed some color, she said, kneeling to plant them, dirt smudging her knees. Hannah joined her, their shoulders brushing as they worked side by side, the soil cool and yielding between their fingers. You're good at this, Hannah murmured, watching Lily's hands, capable, scarred from thorns and tools, shape the earth, making beauty out of nothing. Lily looked up, her gaze holding Hannah's, the world narrowing to the space between them. It's not nothing. It's always been there, waiting. She paused, then added softly, like you. The kiss happened then, inevitable as the tide. Lily rose, wiping her hands on her jeans, and closed the distance in one fluid step. Her lips were tentative at first, tasting of salt and earth, then sure, igniting a fire Hannah hadn't known she carried. They broke apart breathless, foreheads pressed together, the petunias forgotten at their feet. I didn't plan this, Lily whispered, her thumb tracing Hannah's jaw. But God, hon, I can't stop thinking about you. Me neither, Hannah admitted, her voice a tremor. In that moment, under the relentless California sun, the world tilted. Lawns would grow wild again, hearts would mend crooked, but for now this was the curve she'd been chasing. Fall crept in on whispers of cooler evenings, the valley's heat yielding to crisp nights scented with eucalyptus and distant wood smoke. Hannah's yard stayed pristine, a testament to Lily's weekly visits, but it was the evenings that wove them tighter, dinners of grilled corn and heirloom tomatoes from the farmer's market, laughter echoing off the stucco walls as they danced barefoot in the living room to old Fleetwood Mac records. Lily had a way of making the ordinary sacred. She'd string fairy lights across the backyard fence one night, declaring it their impromptu star party, and they'd lie on a blanket tracing constellations while sharing secrets under the vast, indifferent sky. You're a poet trapped in a landscaper's body, Hannah teased one such night, her head pillowed on Lily's thigh, the grass tickling her cheek. Lily's fingers combed through her hair, gentle as rain. Nah, just a girl who knows dirt's honest. People, they're the real weeds, tangled full of surprises. Lily's voice held a shadow then, a flicker of something unspoken. Hannah caught it, but let it pass, too afraid to probe the fragile peace they'd built. Their intimacy deepened in stolen moments. A brush of lips over morning coffee when Lily lingered past dawn after a late shift, hands intertwined during drives to the Griffith Observatory, where they'd watch the city lights pulse like a heartbeat below. For Hannah it was revelation. A love that felt like coming home to herself, soft and fierce, without the script she'd followed for so long. She'd confide in her journal late at night, words spilling and looping script. She's the first person who's ever made me feel seen, not saved. What if this is what I've been missing all along? But love, Hannah learned, was as much thorn as bloom. Whispers started at the edges, Mrs. Hargrove peering over the fence with narrowed eyes, a passive-aggressive note about noise after dark. At work, her colleague Jenna raised an eyebrow over lunch salads at the Ivy. Who's this, Lily? The one with the truck? You two seem close. Hannah brushed it off with a laugh, but the question lingered, a seed of doubt taking root. Lily, for her part, seemed unshaken, her world a tapestry of fluid edges. She spoke fondly of exes, men and women alike, in the casual way of someone who'd learned to love without possession. I dated this artist in college, Theo, she'd say over takeout pho, chopsticks poised midair. He painted murals on abandoned warehouses, but couldn't commit to a grocery list. Taught me to let go. Hannah nodded, admiring the freedom, even as a quiet envy stirred. Her own heart, scarred by Mark's betrayal, clung tighter, fearing the wind that carried Lily might one day sweep her away. The first real fracture came on a rainy Tuesday in October, the kind of downpour that turned LA streets into rivers and canceled outdoor plans. Lily showed up soaked at Hannah's door, her truck stalled 2 blocks away, a sheepish grin masking exhaustion. Mind if I crash the pity party? Got towed again. Hannah pulled her inside, towels and dry clothes materializing from the linen closet. As Lily changed into Hannah's oversized UCLA sweatshirt, the sleeves swallowing her hands, something shifted. A vulnerability that peeled back the layers. They ended up on the couch, a forgotten rom-com flickering on the TV. Rain lashing the windows like accusations. Lily's head rested on Hannah's shoulder, her breathing uneven. You ever feel like you're running from something? She murmured. Like, no matter how far you go, it catches up? Hannah turned, searching her face. All the time. What's chasing you? Lily hesitated, her fingers twisting the hem of the sweatshirt. Old ghosts. My sister mostly. She died when we were kids. Car accident up in the Grapevine. I was supposed to be with her that day, soccer practice ran late. Mom never forgave me, not really. Says it's why I can't stay put. The words hung heavy, laced with grief Hannah hadn't anticipated. Lily, so vibrant, so steady, carried this weight like an anchor. Oh, Lil, Hannah whispered, pulling her close. That's not on you. Accidents. They steal more than lives. Tears welled in Lily's eyes, spilling over as she buried her face in Hannah's neck. They held each other through the storm, bodies entwined in a cocoon of shared sorrow. the TV's glow casting their shadows long and intertwined. In the aftermath, their bond felt unbreakable, forged in the fire of confession. They planned a weekend getaway to Joshua Tree, packing the truck with coolers and tents, chasing the promise of starlit deserts. The drive was alive with music, Lucinda Williams crooning about passion and regret, and pit stops at roadside diners for green chili burritos. At the park, under a canopy of twisted yucca and boulder-strewn silence, they set up camp, the fire crackling as night fell. That evening, as embers glowed like fallen stars, Lily pulled a small wooden box from her pack. "Kept this since I was 12, she said, opening it to reveal a pressed wildflower, brittle and faded, from the meadow where we used to play, me and Sarah. She called them fairy wings." Her voice cracked and Hannah wrapped her arms around her, rocking gently as sobs shook Lily's frame. "I miss her so much, hon. Sometimes I think that's why I fix things, Lon's lives. To make up for what I couldn't fix." "You don't have to make up for anything," Hannah murmured, kissing her temple. "You're enough. Just you." They made love then, slow and reverent, the desert wind whispering blessings over their skin. Not urgent, but a communion, bodies mapping the contours of forgiveness. Back in the valley, reality reasserted itself with a vengeance. Hannah's sister, Claire, arrived unannounced for a surprise visit, her SUV crammed with organic kale chips and unsolicited advice. Over dinner, take out sushi because Hannah's fridge was a wasteland. Claire's eyes darted between the two women, Lily helping clear plates with easy familiarity. "So Lily," Claire said, her tone syrupy sweet, "what's your story?" Hannah's been awfully tight-lipped. "You two. Friends." The word landed like a barb and Hannah's fork paused mid-air. Lily laughed it off, but her eyes met Hannah's, wary, waiting. "Best kind," she replied, stacking bowls in the sink. Later, as Claire cornered Hannah in the hallway, the interrogation spilled out. "Hon, be careful. This phase, it's not you." Mark was solid. "This girl's got that wild streak, tattoos, no ring. What happens when she leaves you picking up the pieces again?" The words festered, a poison seeping into Hannah's doubts. Was it a phase? Or had she finally found her truth, only to have it questioned by the one person whose approval she'd always craved? That night, after Claire left in a huff, Hannah confronted Lily in the dim kitchen light. "Do you see this lasting?" she asked, voice small. "Us." Lily's face softened, but hurt flickered there. "I see you, hon. That's what matters. The rest? We build it day by day." But seeds of fear had taken root, and in the quiet hours, Hannah wondered if love could thrive in soil so uncertain. November brought Thanksgiving, a holiday Hannah had long dreaded, turkey and tension, memories of Mark's family squabbles. This year she invited Lily, a bold step that felt like claiming space in her own life. They cooked together, basting the bird while arguing over cornbread recipes, Lily's hip-bumping Hannah's in playful conspiracy. As they sat down to the meal, candles flickering on the harvest table, the warmth felt like family. Not blood but chosen. "To new traditions," Lily toasted, her foot nudging Hannah's under the table. But midway through pie, Hannah's phone buzzed. A text from Jenna. "Saw your girl at that queer bar on Santa Monica Boulevard last night. Cozy with some brunette. Thought you should know." Attached was a blurry photo, Lily laughing at a high-top table, arms slung around a woman's shoulders. The fork slipped from Hannah's hand, clattering against the plate. Lily's brow furrowed. "Everything okay?" Hannah shoved the phone across the table, her chest tight. "Who is she?" Lily's color drained. "Hon, wait. Is this why you dodge labels? Why you're always figuring it out?" The words poured out, laced with betrayal, the photo burning like acid. Claire's warnings echoed, amplifying the hurt. "It's not what you think," Lily pleaded, reaching for her hand. "That's Riley, old college buddy. We were just catching up, group thing. Swear it." But doubt had cracked the foundation, and Hannah pulled away, tears blurring the candlelight. "I can't do half measures, Lil. Not again." The argument escalated, voices rising over the ruins of the meal, until Lily grabbed her keys, eyes glistening. "I love you, Hannah. But if you can't trust me, what's left?" The door clicked shut behind her, the silence deafening. Alone with the cooling pie, Hannah sank to the floor, sobs racking her body. Love, she realized, wasn't just the bloom. It was the storm that tested the roots. The days after Thanksgiving stretched into a gray limbo, the valley's winter fog rolling in like regret. Hannah called in sick to the agency, burying herself under duvets stained with mascara, the house reverting to its pre-Lily chaos, dishes piled in the sink, mail unopened on the counter. She replayed the photo in her mind, a pixelated accusation that fed her insecurities. Was it ever real? Or just another detour for her? Texts to Lily went unanswered, each blue bubble a silent rebuke. By Monday the yard was shaggy again, a mocking reminder of absence. Claire called from Chicago, her voice a mix of concern and vindication. Told you, sis. That type, they're all charm until they're not. Come home for Christmas. Get back to basics. Hannah hung up mid-sentence, anger flaring. Basics? Her basics had left her hollow, a shell of expectations. Lily had awakened something vital, a pulse she'd ignored for safety's sake. Losing that hurt deeper than divorce, a grief laced with shame for doubting, for clinging, for loving so fiercely in a world that still whispered not like this. On impulse, she drove to the landscaping office in Van Nuys, a squat warehouse ringed by supply trucks. The receptionist, a no-nonsense Latina with a name tag reading Rosa, shook her head. Lily? She's out on a job in the valley. But hon, if it's personal, try the bar on Santa Monica. She hangs there sometimes. Hannah left with directions scrawled on a napkin, her hands trembling on the wheel. The bar neon palm, a dive with rainbow flags fluttering in the breeze, hummed with Friday night energy when she arrived. Neon signs buzzed overhead, casting the patio in electric hues. She spotted Lily at the corner booth, nursing a beer, her posture slumped in a way Hannah had never seen. No brunette, just solitude. Heart-pounding, Hannah approached, sliding into the seat opposite. Lil. Lily's head snapped up, surprise melting into wariness. Hon? What are you? I was wrong, Hannah blurted, the words rushing out before doubt could reclaim them. The photo, the fight, I let fear win. But I miss you. Every damn inch of you. Tears welled unbidden and she swiped at them angrily. Tell me it's not over. Lily's expression fractured, relief warring with residual hurt. She set her bottle down, fingers drumming the scarred wood. It's not that simple. You think I'm flighty, some player? God, hon, I've been all in since that first lemonade. But trust? That's the soil we grow in. Without it. She trailed off, eyes dropping to the table. Then teach me, Hannah pleaded, reaching across. I'm new at this, loving like you do, open and unafraid. But I want to learn. With you. The silence stretched, broken only by laughter from the bar. The clink of glasses. Finally, Lily's hand covered hers, tentative. Okay. But slow. We talk, really talk. No more ghosts in the room. They left together, the night air cool against flushed skin, driving back to Hannah's in companionable quiet. Over herbal tea at the kitchen island, caffeine a forbidden friend at midnight, they unpacked the wreckage. Lily explained wryly. A platonic pal from her queer activist days, the cozy pose a harmless joke amid old friends reminiscing. I should have told you about the night out. Transparency, right? That's on me. Hannah nodded, vulnerability raw. And me, I projected my crap onto you. Mark cheated, emotionally if not physically. Left me feeling disposable. Like love's a loan I have to earn back. Lily's gaze softened, pulling her into an embrace that smelled of hops and home. You're not disposable. You're the plot twist I didn't see coming. The one that makes the story worth telling. Forgiveness bloomed tentative, like the first crocuses after frost. They agreed to therapy, couple sessions with a counselor specializing in late-blooming queers, a term that made them both snort over coffee the next morning. Dr. Elena, with her salt and pepper Bob and no BS vibe, became their navigator, guiding them through minefields of miscommunication and internalized shame. You're rewriting your narratives, she'd say, jotting notes on a yellow pad. Hannah, your arc's about claiming agency. Lily, yours is anchoring without losing the wind. Sessions unearthed buried roots. Lily's survivor guilt manifesting as restlessness, Hannah's perfectionism as a shield against rejection. It was messy, tear-streaked work, but in the afterglow of breakthroughs, their love deepened, more resilient, textured with scars. Christmas approached, the valley twinkling with lights that rivaled the stars. Hannah's house transformed. A tree in the living room, strung with ornaments Lily unearthed from garage sales, vintage glass baubles and handmade popsicle stick stars. They hosted a small gathering, inviting Rosa from the office and Jenna, who'd apologized profusely over wine. I overstepped big time. Claire even video-called from Chicago, her frostiness thawing at the sight of Hannah's glow. You look happy, she admitted grudgingly. Really happy. Under the mistletoe, tied with twine from Lily's truck, they stole kisses, the world fading to the press of lips and whispered promises. But harmony, Hannah learned, was fleeting. Storms brewed on the horizon. The betrayal struck in January, sharp as a winter chill. Lily's phone buzzed during a rare date night at a hole-in-the-wall Italian spot in Studio City, candlelit tables, Chianti flowing. She glanced at the screen, face paling, and excused herself to the patio. Hannah watched through the window, unease coiling in her gut as Lily paced, voice low and urgent. When she returned, her smile was forced. Work thing. Client emergency. But Hannah knew evasion when she saw it. Later at home, she waited until Lily showered, then checked the phone. A violation she regretted instantly, but curiosity clawed deeper than guilt. The text was from Theo, the artist ex-Lily had mentioned offhand. Missed you last night. Come over? Canvas is ready. Attached. A sketch of two women entwined, faces blurred but bodies unmistakably intimate. Below, our secret like old times. Hannah's world tilted. Theo, the one who'd taught Lily to let go. Had the past week been a lie? The renewed trust? She confronted Lily in the bedroom, phone thrust forward like evidence in a trial. What the hell is this? Lily, towel drying her hair, froze. Han, it's nothing. He texted out of the blue. I haven't seen him in years. But you were talking to him. Last night at the bar with Riley. A beat of silence, then Lily's shoulders sagged. Okay, fine. I ran into him there. We talked, caught up. But it was platonic. Swear. Platonic. Hannah's voice rose, incredulous. That sketch. Our secret? Lily winced, rubbing her temples. Theo's dramatic. Always has been. We hooked up once years ago, nothing since. I told him I'm with you. End of story. But the damage was done, trust fracturing like thin ice. Why didn't you tell me? After everything we said about transparency. Because I didn't want to drag up ghosts. Lily shot back, frustration boiling over. You get so scared, Han, like one shadow and it's all crumbling. I can't tiptoe forever. The fight spilled into the hall, words weaponized. Hannah accusing Lily of emotional infidelity, Lily countering with Hannah's paranoia. You're suffocating me. Turning love into a cage. Lily yelled, the first time her voice had ever cracked with anger. By dawn, Lily was gone, duffel in hand, leaving a note on the counter. Need space to breathe. Call when you're ready to trust for real. Love, L. Hannah crumpled it, chest heaving. Betrayal wasn't just the act. It was the echo, amplifying every fear. She drove to the agency in a daze, pitching a campaign for organic dog food with mechanical precision, her mind elsewhere. Jenna pulled her aside after. Rough patch? Talk to me. Over vending machine coffee, Hannah spilled it all. The joy, the doubt, the fresh wound. Jenna, who'd come out in her 40s herself, listened without judgment. Betrayal's a teacher, Han. Hurts like hell, but it shows you your boundaries. Question is, do you want her enough to rebuild? The question haunted her through sleepless nights, the yard growing feral outside. She thought of Lily's compass tattoo pointing north toward home. Was home them or the illusion of safety? February's rains battered the valley, turning streets to mirrors that reflected Hannah's fractured resolve. She threw herself into work, landing a promotion that meant longer hours and hollow victories. Billboards of smiling families hawking minivans, a cruel irony. Therapy continued solo now. Dr. Elena's office a sanctuary of potted ferns and tough love. Grief has stages, the counselor said. But love's a choice. What do you choose? Hannah chose action. She drove to Theo's studio in Echo Park. A converted loft splashed with graffiti and the scent of turpentine. He answered the door in paint-splattered overalls, his lanky frame and soulful eyes the picture of bohemian regret. You're Hannah, Lily's girlfriend. The word felt like armor. We need to talk. Theo ushered her in, offering herbal tea with a wry smile. Ah, the plot thickener. Lily mentioned you. Raved actually. Over steaming mugs he clarified. The text was a misguided olive branch, an old flame flickering out. We were kids experimenting. She's been gone for me a long time. Loyal as hell, that one. His honesty disarmed her, planting a seed of clarity. Then why the sketch? The secret? Theo shrugged, sheepish. Art's my language, messy, metaphorical. Crossed a line. Tell her. I'm sorry. And happy for you both. Driving back through slick streets, rain sluicing the windshield, Hannah felt the knot in her chest loosen. Not fully, but enough to breathe. She texted Lily. Can we meet? Neutral ground. Joshua Tree? The reply came hours later. Yeah. Friday. Bring the wildflowers. The desert welcomed them with stark beauty. Wind-sculpted trees standing sentinel against a bruised sky. They hiked the hidden valley trail at dawn. Boots crunching over gravel, silence companionable at first, then charged. At the overlook where boulders framed the endless expanse, Hannah stopped, turning to face Lily. I talked to Theo, she said, voice steady. He cleared the air. But that's not why I'm here. I came because I was wrong again. Pushing you away instead of pulling closer. Lily leaned against a rock, arms crossed, her face a map of guarded hope. Hon, I get it. Past sucks. But we can't keep rebuilding on rubble. I know. Hannah stepped forward, pulling the wooden box from her pack, the one with Sarah's flower, a peace offering borrowed from Lily's past. This isn't about fixing. It's about growing together. I choose you, messy curved roads and all. But I need you to choose me back fully. No half shadows. Tears tracked Lily's cheeks, mingling with dust. I do. God, I do. That fight? It scared me too, seeing you hurt, knowing I caused it. But you're my north, Han. Always. They embraced then, the desert vast around them. A hug that mended more than words. Laughter bubbled up through tears, absurd and healing, as they whispered apologies into wind-whipped hair. Back at camp, over a fire of mesquite and marshmallows, they vowed new ground rules. Weekly check-ins, no phone zones during dates, a shared journal for the unspoken. It wasn't perfect, love never was, but it was theirs, human and hard one. Spring unfurled in the valley like a promise kept, wildflowers carpeting the hills in defiant color. Hannah's yard bloomed riotous. Lily's petunias joined by Hannah's impulsive herb garden, basil and lavender mingling scents. They navigated the world as a unit, hand in hand at pride parades, where rainbow flags snapped like applause. Quiet Sundays at the Hollywood Farmers Market, sampling heirloom peaches and plotting vacations to the Pacific Northwest. Challenges lingered, of course. Hannah's coming out to Claire was a tearful FaceTime call, met with stunned silence then halting support. If she makes you light up like that, okay, just be happy. Work whispers faded as Hannah owned her truth, her pitches infused with newfound fire. Lily, too, confronted her restlessness, enrolling in night classes for landscape architecture. Time to design my own routes, she'd quip. One evening in May, as twilight painted the pergola in lavender hues, Lily knelt in the garden, a small velvet pouch in hand. Remember that first day? You hired me to tame the wild. She opened it, revealing a pair of silver rings, simple bands etched with compass roses. Marry me, Han. Not to own but to adventure. Together. Hannah's breath caught, joy blooming fierce. Yes. 1,000 times. Their wedding was valley perfect. A backyard affair under string lights. Guests a mix of chosen family. Rosa officiating with body jokes. Jenna toasting with champagne flutes. Vows exchanged amid bougainvillea and laughter. Rings slipping on with whispers of forever. Years later, on a porch swing much like the one where it began, gray threading both their hairs, Hannah would trace Lily's tattoo and say, "You mowed more than my lawn that day. You mowed through to my heart." And Lily, ever the poet, would reply, "And you let the wild grow. Best decision I ever made." In the end, love wasn't a straight path or a flawless bloom. It was the curve, the storm, the quiet regrowth after betrayal's blade. Human, messy, and profoundly American. A story of two women finding home in each other's unyielding light.